We often hear that silent people are wise, that silence is power. But the painful truth is not every silent person wins. In fact, 90% of silent people fail miserably in life, stuck, ignored, and forgotten. Today we'll break down why that happens, and how you can be among the rare 10% who turn silence into unstoppable success. Stay with me till the end. Your future self will thank you. Number 1. Silence without action is useless. There's a dangerous illusion a lot of men fall into. The idea that staying silent automatically makes them strong. That if you just stay low-key, stay quiet, somehow success and respect will find you. But let me tell you, silence without action is nothing but hiding. It's not wisdom, it's not strength, it's just fear in disguise. If you're quiet but not building something, not pushing forward, not moving with purpose, you're not powerful. You're invisible. And invisible men don't conquer anything. Think about it. You know that guy who says he's just staying humble, but really, he's stuck. He's waiting, hoping the world will recognize his greatness without ever putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. That's not stoicism. That's cowardice wearing a mask. Marcus Aurelius hit it hard when he said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. In the same way, waste no more time sitting in quiet hope. Get up and move. Build yourself into a man of action, not just a man of empty silence." Stoicism was never about doing nothing. It was about building unshakable discipline and then channeling it into real movement. You don't have to scream. You don't have to flex, but you do have to act. Forge your craft, build your body, master your mind. Even if no one claps for you yet, even if the world is still blind to your fire, move anyway, because real power is silent, but it's never still. Number 2, fear masquerades as being silent. There's a dangerous illusion that many men fall into, the belief that their silence makes them strong. But here's the raw truth. Not all silence is power. Many stay quiet, not because they are calm or wise, but because they are terrified. Terrified of being wrong. Terrified of being judged. Terrified of standing out and risking failure. This is not the noble silence the Stoics spoke of. This is fear dressed in the armor of false dignity. And fear, when left unchecked, rots a man from the inside out. You think you're controlling yourself, but in reality, fear is controlling. You imagine a man sitting in a meeting with a brilliant idea burning in his chest. He feels the pulse in his throat, the urge to speak up, but he says nothing. Not because it's wise, but because he's afraid. Afraid of laughter, afraid of rejection. And in that moment of silence, he loses. Not just the opportunity, but a piece of himself. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of what we fear is an illusion, a shadow that vanishes the moment we confront it. If your silence is born from fear, you are submitting to a life that is smaller than you were meant to live. Real Stoic silence is a fortress built by a man who could speak, could shout, could command, but chooses not to because his soul is at peace. It's the silence of control, not of fear. Remember this, if you remain silent out of weakness, you have already lost the battle before it began. But if you fight that fear, if you speak when duty calls and act when the moment demands, then you are becoming the man you were meant to be. Silence is powerful, but only when it is voluntary, never when it is forced by fear. Number 3, they never build strong networks. A man who tries to walk the entire path alone is not strong. He is stubborn. In life, raw effort alone is not enough. You can work in silence, grind day and night, and still be invisible to the world. Connections matter, not shallow ones, not fake smiles at fake parties. I'm talking about real bonds, alliances forged through shared values, respect, and the simple act of showing up for others. If you believe hard work alone will rescue you're already halfway buried. No one is coming to pull you out. The world rewards those who make themselves known, not by noise but by value. Think about the guy who sits in the corner, doing everything right, showing up early, staying late, delivering results. But because he never builds any relationships, he's passed over. Meanwhile, the man who understands the power of genuine connection, who knows how to offer something before asking, rises. He doesn't need to be fake. He doesn't need to be flashy. He just understands the ancient truth: people open doors for those they trust. You can either curse the unfairness of it, or you can start mastering it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "We are members of one great body. We were not designed to be islands, isolated and bitter." A Stoic doesn't beg for approval. He brings strength to others, and by doing so, strengthens himself. Isolation rots the soul. Connection sharpens it. If you cut yourself off from others, you're not protecting your power and you're slowly killing it. You don't have to be everyone's best friend, but you must be a man who others trust, respect, and would gladly go to war beside. Be the kind of man others are proud to know, and watch how many mountains start moving in your favor. Number 4, they confuse isolation with focus. There's a critical line every man must learn to see, the line between true focus and destructive isolation. Focus is about sharpening yourself in the world. Isolation is about withdrawing from it. Focus challenges you. Isolation coddles you. The man who mistakes one for the other ends up starving his spirit. Slowly, quietly, without even realizing it, he loses his hunger, his ambition, and eventually his fire. Marcus Aurelius warned us, "Man is a social animal. If you cannot live among men, you are either a god or a beast." Too many men claim they're working on themselves when really, they're just running from the hard battles of life. Picture a man who used to wake up with drive, purpose, and mission. Over time, he convinces himself that being alone is the key to success. He cuts off his friends, stops making connections, spends weeks, months, even years locked in his head, thinking he's building discipline, but he's really building a prison. No feedback, no challenges, no real victories. His muscles may grow in the gym, but his spirit shrinks in isolation. His dreams, once loud and burning, turn into a quiet, tired whisper. That's the tragedy of mistaking retreat for discipline. Focus is a sword forged by fire, by friction with the world, with people, with real adversity. Isolation is a slow, invisible poison that rots your spirit from within. As Epictetus taught, a man's worth is no greater than his ambitions, and ambition needs oxygen, the oxygen of action, of engagement, of being tested by life itself. So remember this, brother. Focus makes you sharper for battle. Isolation makes you forget there ever was a war. Don't lie to yourself. Stay in the fight. Number 5, they fail to communicate their value. A man can spend years sharpening his sword, mastering his craft, building a foundation of discipline, loyalty, and strength. But if he never steps onto the battlefield, who will know his power? Talent hidden in the shadows might as well not exist at all. In the real world, it's not enough to be valuable. You must communicate that value, not through arrogance or noise, but with clarity, presence, and confidence. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. But I'll add this, don't just be one in silence. Let your life, your words, and your actions make it impossible for the world to ignore you. Think about the man who stays late at work, who grinds harder than anyone, who carries himself with honor. But because he never speaks up, never makes his capabilities known, he gets passed over for promotions. Meanwhile, a louder, less capable man seizes the rewards. It's not fair, but life doesn't reward silence. It rewards visible strength. You're not meant to be a ghost in your own story. You're meant to be a force. Smart communication is not bragging. It's owning your path and letting others feel the fire you carry inside. Stoicism teaches us not to be slaves to opinions, but it does not teach us to be invisible. Being silent is wise when it's intentional, but being unseen, unheard, forgotten, that's negligence. That's cowardice hiding behind false modesty. Speak for your work when needed. Stand for your value without shame. The world respects the man who knows his worth and refuses to let it be buried. Number 6. They don't adapt when necessary. Stoicism teaches us the art of endurance, but never the sin of stubbornness. A man who refuses to adapt is not strong, he is brittle, and brittle things break. Many silent men mistake their quiet endurance for virtue, but what they're really practicing is prideful rigidity. They cling to old routines, outdated mindsets, and dying ways of life, even as the world shifts beneath their feet. They don't bend, they don't adjust, they don't evolve. And so they fail, not because they weren't tough enough, but because they were too proud to move with the times. Imagine a fighter stepping into the ring, stubbornly using the same tactics round after round, even as his opponent adapts and counters. He gets hit harder, cornered faster, and eventually knocked out, not because he wasn't brave, but because he wasn't smart. In life, the rules change, markets collapse, relationships evolve, opportunities vanish. If you can't recognize the moment to pivot, you're already defeated. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. True strength lies in transforming obstacles into stepping stones, not by force but by intelligent adjustment. A real man, a stoic man, is like water, silent, flexible, and relentless. Water doesn't argue with the rock, it reshapes it. It doesn't resist the riverbank, and it carves it over time. When the moment calls for it, change your strategy, but never your soul. Your principles are your anchor. Your methods should be your sails. Survival, success, leadership, they don't belong to the strongest. They belong to the most adaptable. In the end, it's not the loudest, the biggest, or the toughest who wins. It's the man who knows when to flow and when to strike. Number 7. They let others control their narrative. In this life, if you don't claim your own name, someone else will write your story for you, and they won't be kind. The world is full of people ready to slap a label on you, to define you by your worst moment, your quietest hour, or the version of you that serves their own interests. If you don't take the wheel, they'll drive your reputation straight into a wall. Stoicism teaches us to master what is within our control, and your name, your narrative, your legacy, they are within your control if you have the courage to seize them. Think about it. How many times have you seen a man underestimated simply because he stayed silent while others spoke about him? Maybe you've lived it. At work, and when you crushed a project but said nothing, someone else took the credit. In relationships, when you stayed quiet about what you stand for, others assumed you stood for nothing. That silence isn't humility, it's surrender. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Your actions must speak, but so must your presence. A king who never speaks to his people invites rebellion. A man who never defines himself invites disrespect." This isn't about bragging or chasing empty validation. It's about showing, through the way you move, the discipline you live by, and the values you bleed for, exactly who you are, without apology. It's about standing in the world with a quiet thunder that says, "This is me and I will not be misrepresented." If you don't control your image, your silence will be interpreted as weakness. Your story will be edited by people who never lived your battles. You owe it to yourself and to the man you're becoming to own your name before the world twists it. Speak when necessary, act always, and never ever let others tell your story for you. Number 8. They mistake endurance for growth. Too many men confuse endurance with growth, believing that simply surviving difficult circumstances is a sign of strength. They tough it out day after day in toxic environments, a dead-end job, a draining relationship, or a destructive habit. They think they're embodying the Stoic ideal of enduring hardship with patience. But let me tell you something, endurance without growth is just stagnation in disguise. It's like a man standing in quicksand telling himself he's handling it while sinking deeper with every passing second. There's a difference between being strong and being stuck. Real growth demands more than just holding your ground. It requires active effort, a shift in direction, an intentional step forward. Think about Marcus Aurelius. The man didn't sit in a palace and passively endure life. He fought wars, ruled an empire, wrote deeply introspective journals, and continuously sought to learn and grow. He didn't accept life's challenges as a passive observer. He took action, even when the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. Growth isn't just about surviving the storm. It's about learning to navigate the chaos and emerge stronger on the other side. Endurance has its place, but it cannot be your end game. There are countless men out there who endure, but few who actually evolve. If you're silent, make sure it's not out of fear or complacency. Make sure you're silently mastering yourself, your craft, and your path. If you're holding your ground, ask yourself, am I growing or just standing still? Is this enduring the fight, or am I stuck in the ring, letting the punches pile up without a single counter? The mark of a true Stoic is not that he simply endures, but that he transforms in the process. Don't mistake the absence of movement for progress. Grow or get left behind. Number 9. How to be in the 10% Stoic blueprint. If you want to turn your silence into strength and success, you must first understand that true power comes not from noise or attention, but from the quiet confidence that only comes through self-mastery. In a world full of distractions, the ability to stay calm under pressure while taking bold action is what separates the 10% from the rest. Being silent doesn't mean being passive or invisible. It means knowing when to speak and when to act. Think about Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, who ruled an empire, yet took every decision with a calm, measured approach. His silence in times of crisis wasn't weakness, it was his strength. He had mastered himself, before ever thinking about mastering the world around him. In your own life, this means building the discipline to remain unshaken by external chaos. When everyone else is reacting impulsively, you remain grounded, focusing on the bigger picture. Picture yourself in a situation where your colleagues or friends are scrambling to gain attention or make rash decisions. The Stoic man? He stays calm, thinks logically, and then acts decisively, silently leading without ever needing to shout about it. Just like a lion prowls in the jungle, silent, steady, and in complete control, your actions should speak louder than your words ever could. When you master your silence, you unlock the power to act with precision, strength, and honor. The Stoic blueprint for success also emphasizes the importance of building powerful networks without boasting about it. This isn't about who you know or how loudly you can proclaim it. It's about having real relationships based on mutual respect and value. Think of Seneca, who maintained friendships with some of the most influential people in Rome, yet never used his connections for personal gain. Instead, he focused on offering value and wisdom, allowing others to recognize his strength. This is where true influence lies, not in flaunting your alliances, but in cultivating them with authenticity. Build relationships with purpose, not for status, and watch your silent strength grow. Success isn't about being seen, it's about being respected. Finally, you must remain relentlessly committed to your growth, even when no one is watching. Silence is your ally in this pursuit. You don't need to announce every step of your progress to the world. The results will speak for themselves. In a world that constantly seeks validation, the Stoic knows that his self-worth isn't up for public debate. Like Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Life will challenge you, but as long as you adapt with grace and maintain a relentless commitment to improvement, you'll rise above. The real question is, how far are you willing to go in silence before the world recognizes your unstoppable presence? Be silent, but unstoppable. Conclusion. Most silent people fail because they misunderstand silence, but not you, because now you know the truth, and knowing is half the battle. If you want to be in that rare 10%, start today. Take action. Silent, powerful, relentless. Comment. 10% club below if you're ready to be part of the elite few. And don't forget, your silence is your secret weapon. Use it wisely. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom for modern warriors.